Now I'll talk a little bit about the advocacy work. So as you could imagine, advocacy has been really a lot of work. It took up a lot of our time since August till now. August we had no land, and now we're at a space where the land is coming back to us. So what happened? We had meetings with Metrolinx, a lot of meetings with Metrolinx. Metrolinx originally didn't want to give the land; they wanted to sell it on the market. But then after that, they said they're going to have the space for community, but they wanted to design it. And we pushed back and saying, you know what, community has designed this for years, put in a ton of work on this. They have thoughts and processes. You don't come in and tell us how you're going to design it. Because one, that work is already there, but two, it's pretty offensive to tell us that you know how to do this work instead of us without talking to the people there. And after communicating with Metrolinx there, they understood, and they said that the process would be they're sending the land to the city of Toronto, and we work with Toronto to figure out a way for the community to have the space. So because of that, we've been talking with CRATO, working with our counselor, working with the city. At the time, we had multiple things happening, multiple conversations. So we collectively decided to have one table where all these stakeholders sit, so we could have one conversation instead of multiple conversations. I'm playing this game of broken telephone. So Metrolinx and our counselor both offered to coordinate that table. In solidarity with community, we allowed the counselor's office to coordinate that work, and they've been doing that work for some time now. Not just coordinating conversations between us. Um, a part of that work, the Metrolinx, the city was talking to the province, and they were going to figure out a way for the province to transfer land. They went through a process. They got that. We throughout this process had to constantly push for the community's vision and making this grounded on community and really rectifying some of the issues we had in the past, and some of those issues where we had nothing written down and it was all promises with no real commitment. And we are consistently pushing to make sure that we rectify that by having real commitments in writing, and we're continuing to push it. Right now, where we're at, the Metrolinx is given this land to the city of Toronto. April 26th is the date where governance and licensing committee is the subcommittee in the city of Toronto is going to hear or grant permission to the city staff to do this transaction. Um, and what we're asking at this time, it's supposed to be a really technical transaction piece, but we're asking at this time the city formalize a partnership with community through the organizing this work that we're doing, this group, and to develop a process, a consultation process of what that timeline looks like, what those structures look like for the next bit of time. So we work out that timeline and what that work plan looks like, and then the city to work with the community to identify funding sources to sustain this work. Right now, all of this work, which is a lot of work, a lot of back-end work, is done on the backs of residents, volunteers, and some agencies that they have no dedicated funding for this. It's on the side of their desk. It's really a lot of work with no pay, and we can't sustain ourselves for this. You know, um, I'm I'm very appreciative of all the residents and the passion that the residents have to do this work, but we definitely need to sustain this work and appreciate the years of dedication and commitment to the community. It's not going to be sustainable without that work, and if residents are not at the table, if community is not at the table, this project, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of everybody here, won't be successful. It only will be successful if it's driven by community and for community.